Congratulations to the flag of the United States and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Great, Madam Clerk, I'm going to send it back to you for roll call. Yes, ma'am. Mr. Allister?
Here.
Mr. Squaga?
Here.
Councilwoman Bidey? Here. Mr. Carano?
Here.
Mr. East?
Here.
Commissioner White?
Here.
Ms. Young? Here. Mr. Long?
Here.
And Chair Sheedy?
All right, I'm here. Thank you so much. All right, I'm gonna send it back to you for
Public comment. At this time, no public comment.
okay, sounds good. We're gonna head into consent items. And if any items get pulled, I'm gonna ask that those go on the back end of the agenda so that we can hear those later. So at this time, do we have any consent items that anyone wants to pull? Wow, you guys are so easy. This is not a city council meeting. Okay.
Pre-board.
All right, then I would like a motion to approve all consent items.
So moved.
Okay, I have a motion.
Second.
I have a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those. Motion carries unanimously. I'm gonna move some things around the agenda this morning. We have presentations. These are D items. And I would love for item D2 to be presented first. So with that being said, Mr. Larragetta, the floor is yours. If you would like to take us into this item.
Sure, thank you, Madam Mayor. So item D2 is representatives from the Reno Rodeo, Western Heritage, and the Department of Agriculture to provide us an update and lead on vision of the project, and also has a presentation as well.
All right, well, we are very excited. I've been saying for a long time, let's hear it, let's go, let's see it. So we're all very excited to have all of you here today. And especially since it is such a big part of our heritage.
Hi, everyone.
I don't even need to introduce you. Everyone knows the one and only Perry Di Loretto.
It's nice to
And
be
Mr.
early enough in order. Thank you. My name is Perry Giloretto. I'm here as the president of the Nevada Western Heritage Alliance. So who are we? Here with me today is co-vice chair Mishana Squaga. Mary Simmons is also a co-vice chair with us. Dr. Andy Morrissey is our secretary. Clint Casey is on our board of directors. Harry Ann Sadler, Commander Ollie Miller, and Ethan O'Brien. We have a wonderful advisory board, including George Combs, manager of the Reno Rodeo, Mr. Brad Seidner, Tom Case from the Nevada Junior Livestock Board, Bill Payne, Dean of UNR College of Agriculture, Ashley Turner from the city of Reno, Tony Marini from the Row, and Woodward from the Nevada State Board of Agriculture. And also Rhonda Leach, who participated with us as an advisor. Thank you. And I couldn't go without mentioning my dear friend Tom Dolan, who was so devoted to this project and provided wonderful guidance and resources for us to keep moving ahead. So I'd just like to give you a brief history of what's gone on and how we started, why we're doing what we're doing. The Reno Rodeo Legacy Committee was formed in 2015. 2019, the Rodeo Association, through their Legacy Committee, put up $1 million and got a matching grant from the State Department of Agriculture for $1 million to provide future planning as to what this facility could and should become. As we go through this conversation, I'd ask all you that are not that familiar with it to please focus for the time being on the facility and whether or not you feel it's important to our community. Because many of us feel that it is absolutely part of the basic fiber. We are an agricultural and Western heritage-based entity. In 2020, with that money, there was a 30% design concept completed. The numbers were huge, but it was a dream and it was treated as such. Okay? In 2020, the Nevada Western Heritage Center Alliance was formed to carry this concept further and to create more community involvement. it wasn't just about the rodeo, it was about everything else that could go on in this wonderful facility, which was marvelously well located. And I know going back in history, that was no easy decision to make that happen. In 2021, we engaged key stakeholders and all of our legislatures and our governor at the time to identify and request funding resources. We had ideas. There was recovery money from our COVID pandemic that was sent to the state of Nevada to use for projects such as this. We've been working for 5 years now, trying to advance that cause. In 2023, the Nevada Department of Conservation and Natural Resources awarded our organization a $6 million grant. This is a funding source to make improvements that were sorely needed to the underground facilities, the sewer system, the water system, the storm drainage system. We received that grant. We were responsible for getting those facilities designed. We recently awarded the contract and that work is underway now. This is work that would have had to been done in any case. If systems failed and they were on the verge of failing, we feel like we were able through this grant to get well ahead of the game here. And we anticipate those improvements will be done by September next year. The 2024, the Nevada Western Heritage Center Alliance and Reno Rodeo Association presented a plan for improvements to the rodeo grandstands. Do we have those slides available? I believe they're still with them. Okay. We're working on new technology.
Okay.
So I'm one of those ones on you guys. It either works or doesn't. We were very encouraged by past meetings that we've had with all of these governmental entities. We appeared before your city council there, we reported before Sparks, Washoe County, and this RSCVA board. And we received virtually unanimous encouragement and approval to move forward with our efforts. We have had to bring our plans and our appetite for what we want to do to the facility into the context of what is achievable. Yeah, this is the concept of what this would go. By the way, the economic impacts of this are significant, which can be demonstrated, and we have talked about in previous meetings. A very important thing happened in the last assembly. Bill 333 was passed and signed into law. I remember some of you were there at the governor's ceremonial signing. And what that did is it put this property back under the purview of the State Department of Agriculture, which we all very strongly believe that it should be. The history of the property, which JJ can go into, goes back to a grant in the late 1800s. And that grant of the land specified what it can be used for. The state of Nevada, through that grant, has always owned this land and will continue to own the land. But through various lease and management arrangements, our county was involved, and Washoe County had an arrangement with the RSCVA. As we are here today, nothing has changed with respect to the ownership of land. Nothing has really changed with respect to the agreement with RSCVA. What we're looking for is a cooperative effort to move this forward. This needs to become a very broad community effort to raise the kind of money that it's going to take to do this. We have a very viable first phase. So with that being said, you're going to talk about property management.
So thank you. And for the record, Director Goycochea, Nevada Department of Agriculture. Can you guys hear me all right? Get picked up audio. Okay. So I don't want to have to adjust the microphone. So as Perry said, this property originally was entrusted to the Board of Agriculture in 1864. And in the legislative session of 1887, there were actually guidelines put on it to make sure that this property was managed according to the trust that original family had envisioned, and it is for the promotion and protection of agriculture. So if we go back that far with that piece of property, as Perry mentioned, that, you know, there was a lease with Washoe County that was executed in 1951, again with legislative action. And then this body, RSCVA, the most current relationship and agreement was with Washoe County, and that dates back to 1986. You guys may or may not have seen that agreement. It's Mike and I have talked about it. It needs some help. There's talk about a $1 water truck. I own some of those $1 water trucks. Those are quality vehicles, I'll tell you. So anyway, we know that we need to do some work on that. When we did find a sponsor for this bill, the first thing we did, and I want to be very clear, is we went and got bipartisan support in both houses. And anybody that tracked this bill knows that this was a hugely supported bill. We're very proud of the support that we got on AB 333 from our community partners, as well as our elected officials down there. And we definitely couldn't have done that without them. A few things that I want to walk through what the bill, a few little changes. As Perry said, the property has always belonged to the state, but the state was hands off when they leased it to Washoe County. So what we're going to do, that southern portion of the property will remain with Washoe County. We're going to do we have to do a survey, and then the land registrar, Charlie Donahue, he will actually execute a new lease for Washoe County to keep what they have down there, the senior citizens, their admin buildings, all of that kind of stuff that's there. Then we will go ahead and assume responsibility for that northern portion where the rodeo grounds, the cutting arena, the indoor arena, where all of those facilities are. It's important for everybody to keep in mind, as the bill said, that this department, and more specifically the director, shall establish a state fairgrounds. And it will be known as the Nevada State Fairgrounds. So you guys, there might be some confusion. Why is it called the State Fairgrounds? The bill made it the State Fairgrounds. So we have the Reno Sparks, we have the facilities on there. It's the home of the Reno Rodeo. It's the home of the Livestock Event Center. None of that is going to change, but that is going to be the Nevada State Fair grounds. And what we're going to do is June will be Ag Month in the state of Nevada. They were very clear down in Carson City. They want to see a return to the state fair. We haven't had a true official state fair since 2010. And so we are working on bringing that back. And I am proud to say that we have got tremendous support from Perry and his group, Reno Rodeo, President Sutton, and George Combs, the general manager. They have been outstanding in helping us mold what June is going to look like. It will not be this grand thing that first year. We all know it takes time to build into that. But the 4-H has actually moved there, what they call the 4-H Expo. It's their annual shows and everything that they do for those kids into that month. So during that week, which will be June 10th through the 14th, we're going to have all the 4-H stuff there. They're going to be doing their livestock judging. They're going to be doing everything that comes around with the fair. And then the Nevada Junior Livestock Show Board has moved their sale into June. It used to be May. It used to be Mother's Day. Some loved it, some hated it. But they have agreed to move that again to be part of the state fair. We can get more money for those kids, get some exposure, truly what agriculture is about. We'll be right ahead of the Reno Rodeo. They have graciously agreed to move their setup days and everything around to accommodate us. And we thank them greatly for that. And we thank the RSCVA for being willing to work with us, and staff out there. Ron has been great, and Mike out at the facility has been great. There's a lot of unknowns. We know there are a lot of unknowns, but we are going to continue to work through this. And one thing that will happen once we sever that property again, we want to enter into another agreement. So the bill said we will assume all agreements that are currently in place. So we've assumed the agreement. We're working with RSCVA under that existing 86 agreement. We both agree we need to see some changes on there. Perry has talked about improvements that we want. One great thing that the bill did, it created a budget account in the state system that stays with that property and is administered by the Department of Ag, and it does not revert. It stays forever. Any interest that is created on that stays. So we could take, and it also gave me as the director the ability to receive gifts, grants, donations, anything we can into that account. And that's what we need. We know we need revenue in order to keep that going and to put things in there. As Perry said, the state is putting $6 million in through his group right now to much needed sewer and water. And we're very glad to see that. That's the first step. But I'm gonna be candid, we have wants and we have needs. And we want you guys to understand what this can and will be, But right now, we have a lot of public safety needs that are on that piece of property, millions. Maybe $15 million worth of deferred maintenance that we need to take care of for safety reasons. And so that is one thing that we're going to continue to build relationships and partnerships from those that have that shared vision and mission that the Department of Ag does, preserve, protect, and promote agriculture. We definitely want you guys to be a part, and I want every board member to know that you can reach out at any time, and I want you to. I want to have a one-on-one with you. I want you to really understand what we're trying to do. And if you want to come and have coffee, you want to come to the office, you want me to come to you, or you want to go to the property, take a look at it, we're more than happy to walk around and look at it, so everybody understands what we're doing. My executive assistant, Juliana Hendricks, is here. I will leave business cards with you. My work number on there goes directly to her. I don't even know how to make the phone ring in my office, to be honest with you. It goes to her, but my cell phone will also be on that card. Reach out. I'm serious. I want to meet with every one of you in the coming weeks, if we can. Madam Mayor, thank you for taking the time this afternoon. You have a hectic schedule. We're going to meet with you later today. Thank you so much for taking the time to do that, so we can again talk about where we want to go and how we want to partner with this entity and continue to move this forward and do the great things. It's the most heavily booked venue in this valley. We want to keep it that way, and we want to bring more events in, but we really need to focus on safety and focus on, as Perry said, what we need to do here and how we want to move this vision forward.
The things that we would like to accomplish as part of our first phase and really would be an approximate 30% increase in the number of seats. Additional hospitality offerings, boxes and suites. Our restrooms are embarrassing.
No.
We need permanent adequate restrooms in this facility. We have attendance of some 9,000 to 10,000 people at the facility. That's not Reno. That's not what we should be presenting ourselves as. It's not Reno Sport or anything. We need to improve the ADA compliance. I think I can say with confidence we are not ADA compliant with the facility. We understand the challenges that each entity has. You know, and what's it all comes down to? Money. But we don't want to start just talking about money. We want to start talking about cooperation, buy-in, enthusiasm, create some momentum so that we can approach the different sources, which are going to be our local governments and of course the RSCVA. Absolute key player in the success potential of this entire project is in this room right now. So again, I'd like to go back to where I started. Take a look at the facility, take a look at what it produces now, take a look at what the potential of this facility could be. And let us know if you can buy into that with us. We want to work hand in hand with you. I believe there's so many other opportunities here besides the rodeo. I can't detach myself from the rodeo because it's very dear to me, part of my way of life. But there's other things that can happen, educational programs, other activities. And we believe that there will be enough economic justification comes out of these improvements to take the risk. Because you have to step out. If we want to improve our community, we got to step out. Happy to answer any questions anyone has about our organization, what we're doing, what our ideas are.
Okay, great. Well, I actually think it is one of the most important aspects of who we are in Northern Nevada. I have so many fond memories. I'm sure all of you do as a
I'm
child.
sorry, have a good night.
Oh, sorry. I was just saying, no, I just think that you're spot on, Perry, on every aspect. And this is gonna have to be a collaboration, I think, with many entities coming together and making sure that we preserve our heritage. I think it's one of the most important assets that we have in the state of Nevada. JJ, just one question. I'm gonna open up to the board so they can ask you some questions. You said that we don't have a state fair. Does that mean like also in the south, there is not a state fair?
That is correct. So Director Goycochea, for the record, statute says that the Director of Agriculture shall establish the state fair. It can only happen one time a year. The location and the timing of that will be established by the Director of the Department of Agriculture. Since 2010, there has not been a state fair. Clark County has their county fair in Logandale. That's a big event. It's a big fair. Elko, Winnemucca, Eureka, White Pine, they all have their county fairs, but there is no state fair. There are entities that operate with a name of the state fair. They are not the state fair as the Department of Agriculture will put on.
Wow. Well, that should make everyone's ears perk up to have something here in the north that the south doesn't have, not that I'm competitive. Okay, fantastic. Thank you so much. Wonderful presentation, but couldn't agree more with both of your sentiments.
The one thing I do want to add, and I was remiss in that all improvements will be reviewed, because I talked about the trust. So they have to align with that trust. The Nevada Junior Livestock Show Board must review everything that we do on that property, including the sewer and water project. They have done that. They have reviewed that. Tom Cates is here representing them today. They have been a great partner. They are established under the Board of Agriculture as well, under the Department of Agriculture. So we have a lot of checks and balances here, folks. We want to make sure that we're doing it right and that we do truly promote agriculture as it was intended in 1864.
Yeah, that's fantastic. One of the things I will ask Mr. Larragetta and us, our attorney over here, when we have projects to this significance, I think it's very beneficial to make sure that we have a standing agenda, that we can stay on track and that we move forward. Because sometimes I think if we don't prepare and plan, then we're not out in front. And so like to, after our meeting today, we'll talk about dates to put on the agenda so we can make sure that we're moving forward, that there's an ask to the board, so that we can partner with you in this initiative. So that's one thing that I believe we can accommodate, correct? Okay, fantastic. So I don't know who the representative, maybe it's gonna be you, Michonne, that comes when we, have the monthly meeting. That would be great, but I think that will really help all of us stay on track and get this partnership going. So, and all of you are always welcome, but maybe you designate one person, you could rotate, it doesn't matter. But we'll put those dates on an agenda and we'll continue over until we get there, until we make it happen. So, okay, I'm gonna open up any questions from the board, and I'm looking at Mr. Glenn Carano.
Well, first of all, is look for Michonne.
She's over there hiding.
I'm there, bring my hearing aids.
She's petite.
Well, I just want to say,
My little brother, by the way.
I want to thank all of you for coming out, and then Michonne, great seeing you again, because I can see you back there. But Terry, great presentation, JJ, great presentation, and I, for one, you've touched my fancy right here. I think the mayor said it very well, that this is part of Northern Nevada culture. It's our history. We've been part of some Perry's a big part of the rodeo, as everybody in the room is here back. I'm really impressed with who showed up today, and I want to thank you. And I, for one, will be a big fan of what the Reno Rodeo does, the Livestock Event Center. And I'd love to see us get to something like that, because there's a place called South Point in Southern Nevada that gets a lot of business, and we have the bowlers come to Reno all the time, but they can only come so much, then they have to go someplace else. Where there's a lot of that business going to Las Vegas every year that actually would like to come to Reno if we have this if we have something like this. It's good to drive business to Northern Nevada and reinvigorate Northern Nevada in a positive way. So Perry, as a brother, Perry, thank you very much for your presentation. JJ, Perry can tell a story about he was recognized as he was a shorter brother of the brother.
I had him convinced that we were brothers.
So thanks very much. And we also have Mr. Murdoch, former board member here. And actually Michonne, great to see
We
Michonne.
do. I didn't want to call him out because I know he gets really red. Then he says, Hillary, why'd you do that to me? He
Thank you
blushes.
for that, Glenn.
Love seeing all the
Sometimes
hats on the road.
opportunities are the ones you already have. You don't have to go looking for new ones, just take care of the ones you already have.
Yeah. That's right. This is a big one right here. Thank you, Perry.
I love that you brought that up, because how can we utilize this property the best of its ability, because we haven't done that, and it has so much opportunity, to your point. Anytime you mention the South, I feel like, okay, we can one up it.
We can do it right here.
Yeah. Okay. Eddie, I think is up there. Hi, how are you? I'm gonna pass it over to you, Mr. Alviser. Go ahead.
Thank you, Mayor Shivi, Chair, and Director, I have a couple questions about the recent legislation that moved through the process. Now that the state is the official owner of the property, with that, what do we know about finance projects that can create capital for for some of the things that you guys are looking for? In the past, there was a conversation around the center being involved in a fair and recreation board funding raise, but obviously, does that change things now that the bill has passed? Does it all go through the general fund at the state?
So a great question. Question for those that may not have heard it is, now that it's through the legislation, there was some talk before about a fair recreation board type thing and that funding and how will that funnel. So as I mentioned, there is an account that has been established for this piece of property. And so that money would go into that account and funnel through that account. And again, it can collect interest. It can sit there forever. It will never revert back into the state general fund. So it's a revolving fund that stays there. It's funny that you bring up this fair board, recreation board. We've had multiple conversations. We had conversations in the parking lot before we walked in here. How are we going to do this? Obviously, we're going to want a fair board at some point, but we need to all work together with Perry's group, with the Reno Rodeo, with you guys, with that fair board on what that vision is. So you may or may not know, there's also something called Ag District 10, which is Washoe County, the entire county. It's an agriculture district. I know that Chad and Mike are very familiar with Ag District 3 coming out of Humboldt County and the great work that they do and how they leverage that revenue and all the work that they do to build facilities, to put on fairs, to put on events. We can do the same thing here. We can leverage that with Ag District 10. And that's something that we are looking at as the Department of Ag. How do we leverage that as well? And how do we go after CIP dollars? It's always been state property, but it was a little tough when it was leased to someone else to try to go out there and get that. So now that it's back here, we will be looking at CIP dollars for public safety, for improvements. We'll be looking at securing some private grants as well that we can bring in, and let's see if we can match those. We know it's going to take revenue streams from everywhere. That's why the language in the bill said that we can take it from anywhere and we can partner with anybody. That's literally what it says. And we were very successful in getting that language in to leave this wide open, Eddie.
Thank you, Director. I love that. And I think you know that RSCVA sits in a very unique spot in statute, and we have legislative permission to engage in some of those fair recreation efforts. And so I think it's appropriate for you guys to be talking to us. The rest of the board, I know I'm not in person, but I've brought up this issue before about the needs in the community. And I think there's a great symmetry with what the director is bringing to us. So I think that's awesome. I do want to ask one final question, and then I can turn over to others. What are the complexities and what's the conversation like? Because, we also sit in a weird position where we are your management group as well. And so obviously there has to be some firewalls drawn in between the work that we do as a vendor technically for you, as well as then possibly on the flip side, a capital funding effort. So just something to think through. And I don't know if you want to address that, Director, but I think that's an important piece as well.
Absolutely. And we are having those conversations and are working through that now.
Okay, anything else? No? Okay. All right, I'm gonna go to the left of me. I think, is that Charlene or Greg?
Sure. That's right.
Don't go right ahead.
You're 2 minutes.
Buttons were a little
Keep it right
close.
here.
Okay, go ahead.
Thank you, ma'am. Sure. I just want to thank you all for being here today. I talked to you in the early days when this was all just starting to come together, with the Western Heritage, with the Legacy Project. Love the fact the Assembly Bill and where we can move forward just makes so much sense. And I think you touched on it. I saw those original plans, your big dreams of what this facility could be. And that kind of touched me even more because it is rodeo, it's livestock, it's 4-H, but it really, that piece of property and the potential for other uses that we talked about that I know are the big dollars farther out, but it has all that potential for a lot of other things that would benefit the whole community, which would include Sparks and those neighborhoods surrounded and the university. And so I'm excited as we start with these first steps, which have to be the safety and the grandstands and those initial work that you're planning. But I'm looking forward to like where we move forward in the future. And thank you all of you that are here, the partnerships, the collaborations that can happen with business, with different jurisdictions, the three of us electeds here in our jurisdictions working with you in the state. Excited to see where it goes. And thank you again for all your work.
I'll be real brief. I do, and I'm not just, giving this support because I could get roughed up by my assistant.
I was gonna say, you gotta be very careful.
Flashbacks from childhood, but another discussion. No, I really appreciate everybody taking the time coming here, and I do feel, even having this timeline very is so helpful because you don't realize it's 10 years that the lift has been starting on just this discussion. And so much work has been put in. Obviously, we had the disruption with COVID. But we're all saying certain strain here that's all similar. It's a partnership. And what I like about this partnership is it's not just one or two. I mean, it's everything from Junior Livestock, Department of Ag, Reno Rodeo, Western Heritage Foundation, the RSCVA, the county, city of Reno. It's time. I think we've got things lined up, and I really look forward to pushing this timeline a little bit to where we are able to sit down with you as a board, really understand. I'm not going to get into the weeds and all the questions of what the plan is, but I do love the one thing I do want to jump on. I love the fact that you have the infrastructure side that you were able to with the 6 million, but to see 30% capacity added, to see the hospitality side, we're butting up. I know the rodeo knows it. I know I'm wearing the Peppermill hat on this, but we would love to be able to get more hospitality opportunity. We buy seats for both local guests and out of town guests. And bottom line is this is a room night generator.
Yeah.
And this investment in this facility is a room night generator. I know I'm skipping ahead, but we have a presentation with KPS3, I know, on our website after this. But one of the slides that kind of jumped out and I went back, but one of the is nothing replaces authenticity. And I think when we're marketing this area, like God bless Vegas for what Vegas is, we're not that.
Yeah.
And I think this is something that really hits the sweet spot. Number of times you take somebody to the rodeo from out of the area, whether they're meeting planners or whether they're casino guests or whether they're just somebody want to visit Reno. That's the real deal.
Yeah.
When they see that experience, they walk out of there. I think everybody is blown away at what that event is. And I think the legs of carrying those other 350 days, it's going to be the fun part. We got to figure out how to make this work, and I look forward to learning more and going from there.
Yeah.
So thank you though for your time.
Yeah, that is so true. So well said, authenticity.
Yeah.
This is the
We
one
can
event that
yeah.
is all about authenticity. So, okay, any other questions? Go right ahead.
Well, just to speak on behalf of the county, we are on board. We're so happy that we have a partner in the state and we have our private partners as well and coming to the table. So we just, keep me informed on how we can support you. This is an incredible asset. We need to invest in it, especially the ADA. My mom went to the facility for a Reno Phil event and there were no bathrooms that she could use. So yeah, we've got to make sure we invest in that. So thank you so much.
That's great. Okay, anyone else? No? Okay, this is informational only, so we don't have to take a vote. But I look forward to seeing you gentlemen at 1:00. And we could try to facilitate it here so you don't have to go downtown. So hopefully we'll see you here at 1:00. Okay, thanks you guys. Okay, moving right along, we are now gonna head back to item D1, and this is a presentation from KPS3. Hi, girls.
I'll
Good
I'll tee
morning.
it up real quick. if
Yeah,
that's okay.
please. That would be
Um,
great. Go ahead, Christina. The floor is yours.
Yes, sorry. Yeah, so we're so excited to have KPS3 here. As many of you know, KPS3 has been our website agency for a little over 2 years now. So they not only completely redesigned our agency, but they've been managing it for the past 2 years. And I'm gonna probably spoil something that they are going to be talking about, but I'm just so excited. We recently won best website in the West with the American Advertising Federation.
Wow.
And this is
That's
across
a big deal.
industries. This is feeding California. Again, not that we're competitive, and it's recognized our website being innovative, user-friendly, and like digital first. And I mean, we worked with the KPS3 team. We were one of the first websites that really integrated AI chatbots into it. You're gonna hear them talking about a quiz, which really is like a gamified data collector for us that we use to then personalize and create custom experiences. And then we just use it in our other digital platforms as well. And before I introduce the KPS3 team, I also wanted to call out Kristen McClellan, who's on our marketing team. Kristen's our digital marketing manager, and she is really the one who works day to day with the KPS3 team and is really spearheading a lot of these innovative ideas. So without further ado, I will introduce the KPS3 team. We have Brittany Silva, who's the Executive Vice President, and Danielle Longley and Julia Jones.
Thank you. Well, thanks for having us today. We really appreciate all of your time. We wanted to share some results from the last fiscal year and do a little reintroduction of KPS3. And you guys had a lot on your plates, so we know it's October, but we're excited to be here today. So like Christina said, so my name is Brittany Silva. I'm EVP. So I lead our internal team, I lead our strategic approach, and I help the team along the way make sure we're reaching your goals.
I'm Julia Jones. I'm an owner and EVP of growth. My team handles all of the analytics and testing for the website, but also the search engine optimization.
I'm Danielle Longley and I'm Director of Accounts. And so I'm your day-to-day contact. I work with Kristen really closely, make sure the team is organized and that we're really pushing the website forward on the path and trajectory that we've planned.
All right, so really quick today, what we're going to go over a little bit of a reintroduction to KPS3 super fast. And then we're going to talk about our partnership. So the results we got in the last fiscal year on the website specifically, the foundation, especially on the tech and optimization side, and then where we're going, how we're approaching the future. So really quick on a reintroduction to KPS3, we're not who we used to be. We've been around a while. We've changed a lot. So we wanted to take this opportunity to just go over that a little bit, give you an overview. So we have 44 full-time employees. We manage 24 million in media. I don't know how much more. We have half our clients outside of Nevada. And of those outside of Nevada, 15 are national brands that we actively manage. We've been in business 34 years. And last year, I think that Plus did the same weird thing. But we won over 20 awards for our clients and a lot of those for you guys, which we're really proud of. So we'll share some of those in a minute. We are employee owned, so you probably know Rob and Steph. Rob was really disappointed he couldn't be here today. He had a prior commitment with the nonprofit he works with. Steph is living her best retired life, traveling the world, and we're super happy for her. These are the current owners, including Julia and myself. Our tool belt, I won't belabor this slide, but basically we use a lot of different tools for a lot of different things. I will call out just a couple things on here. We're really invested in AI. We use it every day, and we are official partners of Sanity, which is what we built your website on, and there are very few partners of Sanity, so we're really proud of that. We are industry recognized on all these lists. I won't belabor this one either, but we're really proud of the awards we won for our clients and with our clients. So in the past, we've won Tellies and Webbies. Like we just said, we just won the Best of the West Best Website with you guys, which is really exciting, and a bunch more. And most importantly, we're fully integrated. So we're a full service agency. We have fully integrated teams in all disciplines across marketing, whether that's brand or public relations, web, digital, campaigns, or anything else we think of. We did a movie premiere last year with the tourism client. We built a throwing machine. We wrapped a ferry once. We're game. And we'll go into our partnership.
All right, last year year, we all partnered together and met or exceeded 5 goals. One of which being the partner referral rate. That was one of the big board goals that you all saw last year. And that was site-wide, so working with all of your partners to achieve that goal. And then also met or exceeded all of our organic traffic benchmarks to the website. We collaborate and communicate consistently, I think daily, with Kristen and Nicole and their team. Lots of emails, Slack messages, meetings. Love visiting with you all. The website had 0 downtime last year, which is huge. So it never ever went down. Let's keep it that way. And then the website, recent updates to this number, the website's won 11 industry awards so far. We were just notified this week of another one that the website won, a gold award in the tourism website from the Davy Awards. So as Chris said, we're incredibly proud of this website and we really hope you are too. It's beautiful, it's functional, users love it, and really represents our area. We maintain both the visitrenotahoe.com website and the RSCVA.com website, which means we're focused primarily on stability and security of both sites, making sure they don't go down, which they haven't. Along with that, last year alone, we made 340 contributions to the code base, and this is for updates, fixes, rolling out new features to improve user experience on the site. And then since we moved visitrenotahoe.com to a headless tech stack with Sanity, we spend much more time evolving the site versus updating plugins because there are none. So last year, we only updated 2 plugins, which were on the RSCVA.com site. But for Visit Reno Tahoe, that new infrastructure is really helping us invest our time and your dollars into experience, functionality, improving what users do on the site. We also ran A/B testing last year on the Visit Reno Tahoe site. So we ran 15 tests over the course of the year. These focus on improvements to functionality, features, and engagement, where we feel we really need user behavioral data on the site to determine if it's the right path forward before completely rolling it out, or even to determine between 2 different designs or 2 different features, which one is going to garner more engagement and be more valuable to users. Several ideas we took straight to implementation. These are things that testing data wouldn't affect, so it allows us to make impact quickly by just go ahead and rolling those out to the site. All of this led to great results on the website last year. Traffic via sessions and users were both up. And then of course, as I said, we met that partner referral rate goal site-wide that all of the partners that touched the website were working toward.
I'm going to talk a little bit about the work that we do for the website on the SEO side of the house, and then we'll get a little more deeply into the testing and data side. So for SEO, of course, a lot of that work is focused on content creation and content optimization. Last year specifically, we published 40 net new pieces of content. That's on top of pieces of content that the RSCVA team publishes, that other partner published to the website as well. So for SEO, we focused that on 20 articles and then 4 in-depth guides for some of our content pillars. So all of this content was focused on addressing any gaps that we may have with competitors, improving rankings, or just gaining net new rankings and increasing visibility in AI search. We also published 14 what we call these local perspective pieces, and these are pieces where we actually go out and we partner with locals to author them and then publish them on the website. So we identify people who align with our marketing personas, and then we identify content that aligns with our target search queries, and we publish their pieces. And what these have been really great for, in addition to kind of like the traditional 10 blue link rankings that you see on Google, these have been really critical for increasing our visibility in AI and search. And so often when you're looking for relevant things, whether you're using chat or using Google's AI mode or Perplexity, a lot of these local perspective content pieces will come up. So this is something we'll continue to do this year on the SEO front as well. And then the website's very content rich in and of itself, right? So we don't want to be constantly reinventing the wheel. So the other kind of big part of our job is to make sure that we're maintaining the quality of all the content that already exists, the quality in the eyes of LLMs and search engines, but also just in the eyes of humans. So last year that looked like re-optimizing over 120 different pages on the site, everything from pages you see all the time to like the homepage to other articles that again track to our SEO goals. So all of that work resulted in a lot of great numbers. So we exceeded all of our goals on the organic search front. Some cool things I'll point out. Last year, we secured 240 net new AI overviews. I think right now that number is upwards of 300. We have more than 700 search features on page one. Those are like the blocks of text that you'll get before you get the links, or the cards on the side, or the video that pops up, those kinds of things. And so all of this work, in addition to what Danielle mentioned, is kind of what allowed us and your team to make sure that we met or exceeded all of the goals that were set out for the website last year. So I'm gonna shift and talk just a little bit more about that kind of technical foundation that Britt and Danielle brought up. I think last time we were in front of some folks of this group, it was to pitch the website. And so we came in with this idea of quote unquote the new internet, and we really harped on needing a future forward tech stack to create a fast, scalable, secure website. So we're a year and a half out right from the website launch, and we know that's worked. We can see other folks adopting this stack, which Sanity is the headless CMS, Vercel is the Next.js framework. And what that has allowed us to do, aside from having zero downtime, which of course makes us very happy, but it allows for this kind of constant iteration and testing on the website. We're able to continuously push up new creative, even if it's animation, video, things that on old tech stacks tend to drag the website down, and people in search engines have no patience for a website that's slow, right? So we're allowed to constantly push these new features, have multiple tests running all the time without experiencing any drag. So that's also contributed a lot to helping us continue to gain more of those traditional search rankings, but also set us up in a really good spot in the kind of new AI world of search. So what some of that like kind of continuous iteration looks like, we always start with understanding, right, the marketing and organizational objectives. We then look at all of the data we have available in all our tools, all the data your team shares with us, to come up with different hypotheses and ideas for the website that will ladder up to those objectives. We prioritize those, decide what should be a test, what maybe should just go straight into implementation. We gather data and then we make decisions based on those findings. So it involves a lot of qualitative and quantitative data. A couple of tools that are important here. BWO is our testing tool, but it also provides things like analytics, session recordings, heat maps, click maps that we can use to develop those ideas and make decisions. Google Analytics, obviously. And then we also use a tool called Maze for the qualitative piece. And that's a surveying and user research platform that lets us get real-time feedback from web users on critical pieces of the website. So one Danielle's gonna get into, a big project last year was the quiz that was mentioned, and that's a really critical data collection but personalization tool on the site. So we're allowed to use tools like these to kind of get a little information before we invest a ton of time going down any one like design path. So Danielle, talk a little bit more about the quiz.
Yeah, perfect. The quiz really is a perfect example of how we use that qualitative and quantitative data. So when we launched the original website back in June of 2024, a big piece of that was developing a personalized user experience so that we could customize the content, the imagery, the seasons on the site to what a user was truly looking for when they were planning to visit and what types of activities they want to do. And that has been great. But immediately after launching it, we started collecting data, right? We know that we can always push forward, we can evolve, we can make things better. So we took the first quarter to get benchmark data on how that quiz was performing, and then dove into analyzing all of that data from Google Analytics, the heat maps, BWO, how users were interacting with it, what personas were the most common in the results, what activities were users selecting that are super popular, and looking at all of this data to see, okay, is this what our users need? Is this encouraging them to come to the area? How could we improve this experience? And so in analyzing all of this, we really came across a few big points that we noticed weren't quite on track with the original quiz. One was that our family persona isn't exclusive to our adventure and culture personas in a marketing world. They cross over a lot, and we needed to expand the persona set and recognize that to meet users really where they were and what families were doing in the area. So that was one shift we wanted to make. We also found that the users were looking for more inspiration and more options within the quiz itself. And that when they got to the results page, they needed more context on how those results were being served to them and what those results were and what they meant. So taking all of this information, we were really able to restructure the quiz, add kind of a fourth persona into the mix, change up some of the questions, and do a complete redesign of it that would be more inspirational through actual imagery versus necessarily like icons of activities. And then, as Julie said, before we went straight into development, we used a platform called Maze, which is for prototype testing. So we were able to upload our design prototypes and have real users in real time go through the prototype and give us feedback. And those users were all targeted within our persona set. So we could say, you know, we want to make sure a mom in, you know, her 30s with kids who travels a lot is taking our prototype quiz so that we're getting information that's relevant to the people we're trying to attract to the area. And that information was great. That gave us a lot of feedback on the quiz. So with that, we were able to refine a little bit, work with Kristen and her team on really inspiring and engaging photography for the quiz, restructure the content in the site, and then launch with confidence this new experience across devices. And the results really speak for themselves. Immediately, we saw a massive increase in quiz completions, as well as the completion rate compared to the former quiz. And that engagement has carried on that trajectory. And we're still watching it, we're still analyzing it, we're still gonna evolve it most likely, but it is performing really well and it gets users into that website personalized experience.
Before we move ahead really quick, I'd just like to give a shout out to Kristen and the team. The personalization and seasonality of the website is like one of the distinguishing factors that has won those awards. And that's one of the things that I was really excited about to leverage on the media side when they came in. And the tech stack, what we do is important. We're here to talk about KPS3, but in order for that to actually function, all of the content has to be tagged with those personas, those sub-personas this season. And Kristen and her team are really invaluable in making sure that happens so that that personalization continues to be accurate and useful to our users.
So looking ahead, we put together an annual plan with you all in last quarter, last fiscal, and it really focused on these 3 areas. The first is next level personalization, next is more collaboration with partners, and the third is remaining on the cutting edge. When we say next level personalization, we have, like we said, like we talked about, so many personalization features on the site. We want to make sure it's being fully utilized by your users. We really want to lean into those expanded personas, right? Talking to those lifestyle integrated travelers, really reaching into what they want and when they want it, because we know that people are multifaceted and don't really fit in a box. So making sure that we're serving the right content, filling those gaps, having content that speaks to some of those evolving preferences and those kinds of things. With more collaboration with partners, what we're really talking about there, we knew you'd have a new media partner. It ended up being Miles, and it's been going great. We've been collaborating super well. We wanted to make sure that we really stayed in lockstep so that we're working as one big holistic team towards your goals. And that's been going awesome. And deepening our relationships with your current partners like GuideKeep, which is who enables the AI chatbot right now, making sure we can efficiently work on implementing custom features for you guys and being on that cutting edge of it. And working together more, which we've been doing a lot of in the last few months, and we'll talk about that. And then remaining on the cutting edge. And what this means for us is going all in on AI for efficiencies, as well as fully utilizing your tech stack. You have a solid foundation. Let's make sure we're using all of the pieces of it, and making it easier and easier and easier for people to customize, plan their trip. So what's next? How do we approach this? For us, we really believe that brands that are going to win balance these 3 things really, really well. So we've talked a lot about the tech, the foundation, the tools that we can use. And then we need to balance that with AI for efficiency, for problem solving, for customization. And we cannot lose the human touch, right? Because that's where we really win on the content side and on the engagement side. So we've talked a lot about the tech, so I won't talk about that more, but on the AI side, we've really been leaning into features that follow this evolution of what AI has brought to us. So if you think of what Google was, right? People would ask this question and search for an answer. Then they kind of started asking questions to ChatGPT, getting an answer. And now we're evolving it to where we're giving them the question before they even think of it, right? So we've been really including some of these contextual prompts when people are on certain pages, where they might not know what their question is yet, but if we know from some of these cookies and some, if they've answered a quiz or whatever it is on the page they're on, right? If we know that they're interested in traveling in winter and they have a family, then we want to say, hey, why don't you ask what the best ski resorts are for families in Lake Tahoe? And making sure that we're prompting them with what information we can really give to them and personalizing their experience. And then we want to take that even a step further and including those in the content itself on the pages. So if people are reading an article or an itinerary, if there's a natural drop-off point, we want to prompt them and be like, hey, have you thought of this contextual thing that's relevant to you, and making sure that they stay on that track. On the efficiency side, we're also implementing and looking at features that ideally Insanity, where you could, in an ideal world, upload your content. It knows the components of your site. It gives you a good first rough draft of what that page could be, so that you can go in and tweak it from there, saving tons of time. On the AI and search front, so I'll just explain and skip a little bit. It's a little bit to what Julia was talking about. So on the authentic content side, and one of the reasons we're leaning so heavily into it is the GIF's not thing, but that's okay. It is a GIF, and it basically shows somebody searching for family ski resorts in Lake Tahoe, where our perspectives content is the AI overview in that result. So that is really what's creating this authority. The website right now is set up really, really well to be an authority, a credible, trusted source on tons of AI search engines and LLMs. And we're really proud of that. We want to make sure that we are staying on the forefront of that, and we that continue to be that source, while still trying to focus on driving our traditional traffic, because we know that's a goal of ours this year. So watching that shift, driving that traditional traffic, but really staying on the forefront of being that authority for AI, because you are right now. And then, of course, we don't want to lose that human touch, like you guys have been talking about. Like, it was perfectly married with that the presentation earlier. So expanding on these multifaceted approaches, like we talked about, we know that moms and dads might want to do a date night where they go gamble, and that an extreme skier might want a fancy steak dinner. So we need to make sure that we're understanding these layers to people's personalities, not trying to put them in a box and only serve them one kind of content, serving them the right content at the right times, and expanding on this approach. And then lastly, nothing replaces authenticity. These perspectives have gone so well that we are really, really ramping these up and have a big focus on those this year. Having local people talk about what they do has really helped people get inspired and envision themselves in those footsteps. And it has performed really well on the AI side as well. That authentic content is really what people are craving right now. So we're trying to make sure that we have as much of it as possible to fill any of those gaps. So we've recently published more, like a spa guide, some different fishing ones, some hiking ones, all trying to make sure we're keeping those personas in mind, and filling any content gaps we have and making sure that those surface. So at the end of the day, on our side, we're a human first agency with deep technical roots, and we're just really excited to stay on the cutting edge with you guys. We're excited to be here today, excited. Thank you for giving us your time today, and we'll just ask for any questions.
All right. Fantastic. That I honestly, one of the best presentations. I see a lot of these in a different capacity, but it is impressive that you guys understand the human side of it, because now what's happened with AI, it's become so overboard that people are feeling disconnected. And American Eagle just came out with saying that they would not use any AI generated videos or models or things like that. And they literally saw their stock go up by 20%.
Right.
And so I think it goes back to exactly what Stephen said when you went back to authenticity. People still want to have this very authentic feel. I think they appreciate the speed of AI and those types of things, but I think they don't want us to see it so overdone that they're disconnected from it, right? When you see some of those videos and you're like, those are so cool, but at the same time, we all know they're not real.
Right.
So it makes you feel like, what am I watching? And it starts to disconnect you from the reality. And
Yeah.
so I gotta tell you guys that this is, you guys knocked it out of the park. on every which way with everything that you're meeting, because this is something, like I said, I study day in and day out. And there are a couple things. I'm curious who's doing the quiz, and let me just tell, I don't know what any of your websites look like, but anytime you are gamifying doing the quiz, the conversion rate into your email is miraculous. And that will be a game changer if you're looking to collect that data, but like I would think for any of your casinos and get that on there, you are missing out big time because you can convert huge. Who are you using for the quiz part?
What do you mean?
Are you using any like certain platforms?
Oh, we developed native.
You guys did
It's
it.
native to the
Wow.
website.
Well, it is fantastic, because that's the first thing that people want to see. They want to be brought in. They want you to feel like you know them.
Yeah.
And the quiz is really cool. Have you guys done it? It's super cool. The only thing I would say about the quiz, this is the only thing, and I love it. It's awesome. This is so great. Is that after it says I was the adventurer, as I've gotten older, I'm definitely not as the adventurer. And I wanted to go back and retake the quiz, but it keeps telling me I'm an adventurer. I think they're just saying, yes, you really are, but
Yeah.
that was the only thing, because I was like, I wanna retake that and get a different outcome.
Yeah, definitely.
Maybe I was missing something, but that was the only thing.
Yeah, you're good. It should be prompting you, especially on a tablet or on your phone. You'll see at the bottom, it says retake, it'll say retake the quiz, and it will have that little button for you.
Okay,
You'll have plenty of opportunities to take it as many times as you want.
all right, well, that's awesome. Thank you so much, you guys. Okay, I'm gonna open up to questions. Sorry, I was just so excited. I was like, I gotta jump in on this. Because you guys hit every single mark. If you're reading anything about what's happening in LLMs, this is it.
Yeah,
And it feels like it's, people cannot get this right.
right.
And so, I hope this board knows you're in really, really good hands, and I could see why you guys, won the award for sure. So, all right. All right, go ahead, Mr. Long, it's all you.
Great job, you guys. I mean, this is a very technically advanced site and you guys are doing a fantastic job. But to just follow back up on the quiz, are you able to measure the people that take the quiz and then show up and mark it? Or is Datafy able to give you those figures?
We don't have that full connection yet, but we are hoping that it's a connection that we can work with other partners and Kristen's team to get. We can right now see how many of which persona they are, and we can see how they interact with the rest of the website. But that's our next step. Evolution is trying to make those connections.
Okay. And do you know if more people are taking the quiz on a mobile device or on a desktop?
Yes, mobile
Good
for sure.
question.
I mean, overall, about 80% of the
Good question,
website
Greg.
traffic is on him.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it seems like that might be a feature where you can get people to take it on desktop more, because I know all the traffic is moving mobile, but that seemed like a potential, like a feature on a website that would push people to desktops. But, and then on the 20 new articles you're publishing, on our website for North Lake Tahoe, I always struggle with keeping the content current and keeping it accurate, and businesses come and go, and activity providers come and go, and conditions of ski resorts change, at a moment's notice. And I know you're updating these articles, but how do you keep them current? Like if they keep building on themselves 20 a year, you're gonna have all this content that's gonna be potentially stale in the background.
Well, yeah, so we tried really hard to balance pushing out new content with optimizing the content that already exists. So on the SEO side, that usually starts with us looking at either our AI visibility or our keyword rankings where we have gaps. And then the first thing we do is go into our existing website and say, what do we have that could make up for this gap? What has been lost? Do we think we can fix or tweak or edit or rework this piece of content? Or is this truly a gap and we don't have anything? So now that we're beyond kind of that first year post website launch, and do anticipate that net new content might fall off and optimizations will go up, with the exception probably of those local perspectives. Since that brings kind of an expert third party in who is not us publishing content to our website. For the nitty gritty, I will say of events, vendors, activities, all of that stuff changing. Your team is really, really huge in that, so we help here and there when we need it, but that is primarily, Tahoe's marketing team that does such a great job. And those are the types of features, Sanity, it's been kind of one of the first CMSs to really roll out a lot of AI features. And those types of features that can make that work easier is kind of what we're looking into first with our dev team to try to save any time there.
Okay. Thank you.
Very good.
Thanks.
Okay. Go ahead. Yeah.
Would it be possible, I think again, this quiz has kind of caught all our attention, but would it be possible, whether it's in one of your quarterlies, Mike, the stakeholder, to actually review the results?
Great idea.
It's a great idea.
It just kind of gives all the operators, all the stakeholders, oh, this is what the guest is saying. We think we know what they're
Yeah.
saying, but that'd be great.
It's a great idea.
Yeah.
See you next quarter.
Yeah.
All right, any more questions? No? Last but not least, going into the future, and I'm sure you guys have talked about this, and I'll try to explain this to everyone that might not be familiar with it. You guys are setting us up so well for ChatGPT and all those LLMs. So fantastic, right? There's also, and you guys know this, sort of like, let's say the Apple Store, there's, tons of apps in the Apple Store, and you can have your own app in the Apple Store. And one of the things that you can have is your own GPT. So I would love, and even if you just start, super elementary, it doesn't have to be, all bells and whistles and all this stuff, but just so that it starts to really, really ingrain us into the AI models. So I assume I would love to see a Reno Tahoe Chat GPT in our own, in the Chat GPT store. So that's basically what it will be like.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so I think that's gonna be a game changer. And as you know, it's so new, but I think the brands that are doing that now and getting in early, it's like being early adopter in SEO. If you were the early adopter in SEO, you had such a huge advantage becoming at the top ranking. And anyone that has a business here, I would go back to your web team and tell them, I don't care what it looks like, we want a Chat GPT. And we just did one, it was very easy. You can make it, tons of bells and whistles, or you can, but I would say start now, because that's who's gonna win.
Totally. I can speak that a little bit, on the custom GPT front, that's really that next evolution like you're talking about, to have your own kind of closed box source. And for us, Guide Geek is playing that role right now. But if we were to create our own custom GPT, it would kind of replace that Guide Geek chatbot experience, and really be whatever you want that information to surface. We are building one right now with another partner, for mental health services for the state. So it is something we're definitely heavily invested in and looking into for the future, because you're totally right. It's a way to weed out the noise from all of the results, right? Because right now you can't control what ChatGPT is gonna surface to your users. But if they trust you, you're a trusted source, they use your GPT, it is just the information that you know is true and valid, to your point of like keeping it updated and having those kinds of things, so they don't land on something that's completely not relevant to them.
Yeah.
I will add to that, we have developed some custom GPTs for internal marketing teams to use to kind of address some of the problems that you brought up, but that is locked down, it's all their own content, so their internal marketing teams can use them. And those are successful, but just require a lot of internal testing to eliminate that hallucination. And for internal marketing teams, right, know what they're looking for.
Are any visitor
So that's
sites
another
doing
use
that
case.
yet? Are any visitor sites doing that yet? Like any visit, Christina, I'm
Yeah.
like, we gotta be the
I
first.
know, that's
We gotta be the first. Is anyone doing it? I'm curious, just, nationally in the CDB space, is anyone
I
on
think
this?
to your point, that is gonna be the next step, because when we got our current chatbot, I mean, we've been with it, I think 3+ years, right?
Yeah.
To where you couldn't create your own, but we challenged the developers when they were creating it. We put our website first 3 years ago. I mean, because we didn't want the the influences from scraping the entire web, we wanted them to scrape our website and our information first, right? So we kind of already in that space, but to your point, it's evolved and now it's opened up and it's allowed, the technology is there to where we can create our own and we don't have to rely on a third party, a guide geek.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
we are definitely talking.
Yeah. And every property, like the J Resort should be, dot chat
So true.
GPT,
Mhm.
the road dot chat GPT, Peppermill dot chat GPT. Even if you start small, and it's not hard, actually, I don't know, give someone, an 18-year-old a phone and say, just go do this for me. So you have a presence, and then that starts you in recognizing, like I said, everyone will pay big bucks to get ahead of SEO. This is the next evolution of SEO, of paying, but you're in it now so early, do it now. Do it now. It'll make a huge difference.
Definitely.
Yeah, okay, that's awesome. All right, girls, well, we'll see you back here next agenda. All right,
Thank you.
all right, thank you guys. And that was also information only. Okay, the other thing is I should interrupt our scheduled program, because I forgot to mention this. Molly does have a attorney-client privilege meeting for us, and so we are going to do that directly after the meeting. I just wanted to let everyone know in case you have somewhere to be. And if you do and you can't be here, then Molly will follow up with you. Just call. Okay. Okay, we are now on item D3, capital projects.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I'll tee this up. When the board approved our budget in June, obviously there was a capital component to that budget. And that we would provide quarterly updates on what has been completed within that capital budget by facility, what is pending, and what is on the horizon moving forward. So Executive Director of Venue Operations, Chad Peters, is here to give a very short, quick update on our capital facilities.
Thank you very much, Chad Peters, for the record. We'll just go through this briefly. By site, the Convention Center, RSCC, we have completed the bleacher purchase and installation of those. The track is actually going up right now because we're right around the corner from that season. And all that equipment is in and completed. And then we've started a couple projects there as far as digital displays, digital wall, and our electronic key installation, which will be great for that property. So now we don't have to hand someone a big bag of keys. We can say, hey, here's your access card. You can get into wherever you want, and it really controls the building a lot better for us. So I'm gonna go building by building, so I'll just stop right there. Does anyone have any questions with the convention center?
I love this. For us that have ADD, I can see it so well.
It's a small item, but on the 18th of the track, is that just like replacement of parts or?
Yeah, so there was a couple little things that happened from last season to this season that were replacements that we knew we had to upgrade and things we had to do. There's some sand and just different things we had to kind of keep the ball rolling to make sure we were at the top of our game with the indoor track. So that was just the additional things that we were a little behind on. Any other questions? Okay, thank you. Next is our Livestock Event Center. So here we've completed quite a few of these projects. A lot of them folding tables, folding chairs. Obviously, we're taking the old ones, we're moving them around, we're bringing in ones and making them so they're better for all the events. We have a ton of events out there. So, but the utility vehicles, the buddy trailer, all the things that are helping our staff be more efficient with time management and everything. These have been really good. As you can see, our new turf tractor and some of these things are quite a bit under budget, which is one thing we're really focusing on. So just have a couple more things to complete there, and those items that aren't finished, that are not started yet, are based on time of year, what our team has time to accomplish with those things. So we'll get those started as soon as we can get that on our plate.
Hey, Jared, on a turf tractor, how did you get a price that's almost half? I'm very impressed. I was just wondering how we.
Yeah, Mike did a good job, Eris did a good job of calling around and just seeing what we could find and what we actually needed. And when we went out with that original one, we just kind of go with what we kind of see when we do that budgeted of what we think we might need. And we found something that was right there at that nice price, so we went and got it, so.
Awesome.
Just works out really good, just that's shopping around, just being more proficient in what we're trying to do, what we're trying to get.
I appreciate that.
Okay, any other questions there? Bowling stadium, we have started the carpet for the theater. We have that, we're kind of waiting because we've tied in a little bit the stadium club upgrade and everything. We did a really good job. We actually cleaned the windows there. Mr. Largetta got to see it yesterday. It's actually looks very nice. I'd love to show that off. The stadium club looks amazing. But those are in progress, and we're just kind of maneuvering around the events and things we have. We just got the ones at big international tournaments, so we had to make sure we didn't have a lot of construction going on. So we'll get that going. We should have that done hopefully Q2 or even early Q3. Any questions, Bowling Steve? Next one's our Reno Event Center. The purchase of the new pipe and drape is on its way. Bleacher curtains, we're in the progress of that. And then the new lighting and sound equipment, we got our quotes out for that. And that is a project that's going to come way under budget. So we found some good options there. So really excited about that. And I'll have more to share with that in the next quarter. But all those are in progress. Quotes are out. We're moving on those. And then last is our, for all the venues and IT projects, the AV IT team, Chris Allison and his crew are doing a great job with our core switch upgrades. Those have all been ordered, in progress. This is just bringing everything up to speed in all our facilities and making sure that we're grabbing phones as they come in, and we're making sure that we're connected and we're connected to them. And these guys are really just taking our technology and keeping us so we're not behind the eight ball, we're just in front of it. So these are just things that we'll upgrade throughout the year, but take a little bit longer process. A lot of wiring and communication needs to happen around events and all those things that need to happen first. And then this is just our final, our budget. And the best part about it is we're on progress. We have about 28% of our projects done. So being done with Q1, we're right on target. And we have another 30 to 35% of those being in progress right now. So we're kind of ahead of the game, and we're really happy about that. So is there any questions that we have for capital projects?
Good job.
Thank
I hope everybody else can be like that.
Thank you. It looks like we will be moving into D4, which are the department updates. Mr. Largetta.
Yes, thank you, Madam Vice Chair. As I always do, I give my monthly update, and then today also joining me, Mr. McGinnis will provide a update on convention sales for Q1, and Mr. Jimenez will provide a tourism update for Q1. So hopefully we are jumping right in here. Maybe. There we go. Okay, as I always do, I announce our spotlight winner for the previous month. So I'm happy to announce that the winner for August was Celeste Rodriguez. Celeste started her career at Visit Reno Tahoe on January 18th, 2019 as a marketing intern. She was promoted to public relations coordinator on June 10th of that same year, and then promoted again to digital communication specialist on August 31st, 2020. Chief Marketing Officer Christina Ernie had the following quote to share. It's a pleasure to recognize Celeste as our Employee of the Month. From starting as an intern over 6 years ago to becoming a valuable member of our PR team, her growth and dedication have been outstanding. Celeste plays a key role participating in our PR fam trips, and her recognition as a Destinations International 30 Under 30, along with her continued service on DI's Alumni Council and committees, speaks to her leadership in the industry. We're proud to have her representing Visit Reno Tahoe with such passion and professionalism. Congratulations, Celeste. Okay. As I communicated to the board earlier this week, we recently had some significant promotions within our senior staff, and so I wanted to recognize these individuals today. We are proud to recognize the recent promotions of 3 outstanding senior staff members whose leadership and dedication continue to strengthen our organization. Lori Tangy has been promoted to Executive Director of Human Resources. Lori's strategic insight, professionalism, and commitment to fostering a positive workplace culture have been invaluable in advancing our organizational goals. Chad Peters has been promoted to Executive Director of Venue Operations. We actually just removed the interim tag in front of Chad. Chad's operational excellence, problem-solving skills, and collaborative leadership have greatly enhanced the efficiency and performance of our venues. And last but certainly not least, bless you, Christina Ernie has been promoted to Chief Marketing Officer. Christina's creativity, strategic vision, and passion for the Reno Tahoe brand have elevated our marketing initiatives and strengthened our community impact. These promotions are well-deserved and reflect each leader's exceptional contributions, professionalism, and dedication and continued success of the RSCVA. Please join us in congratulating Lori, Chad, and Christine. Okay, here. Excited to provide an update on, we're making progress in the event and concert world at the Reno Event Center. So this is a list of what we currently have contracted. In addition, we have 8 additional bids that are out pending contract and reception of our offers. So hopefully next month we will be updating this list. But what we have today to report is performing on October 24th of this year is Phil Wickham. Nitro Circus on December 10th, Disney on Ice February 5th, Raymond Lamb on the 6th, PBR on February 20th, and Jeff Dunham on March 20th. I want to commend both Renee McGinnis and Valerie Segarra for their efforts during this transition, working to try and fulfill our needs to book the downtown event center. And I'm also happy to report that we have hired a director of entertainment. This individual will join us on Monday, October 27th, and at that November board meeting, we will be introducing them. So very excited. Progress moving forward.
That question, Mike.
Yes, sir.
So how do you do Disney on Ice February 5 through 7 and Raymond Lamb on the 6th, February 6th?
So the concert, it must be an evening concert where we'll be able to either move the ice or
Sunday ends early, Disney on Ice.
Sundays or the concerts that night. Yeah, yeah. So movement. Good catch though.
Well, that is also Super Bowl weekend.
Is it Super Bowl weekend then? Okay, and then my last 4 slides, as I always do, I provide updates for the current month. September numbers, I just want to go on record, are not completely audited. We still have a few returns to come in, but this is a very good snapshot. So the first slide here is looking at 6 key metrics we've added to this. I think we finally have the list that we want that really focuses on the key areas that we want to report on a monthly basis. So if you look at how we performed versus prior year actual September to September, tourism and arts team overall up 7.3%. Group sales down significantly, but you'll see where it picked up in the prior months here in a minute, so I'm not concerned about that number. Visitor count down 4.3% month over month. Overall room tax down 3%, ADR 0.5, and overall occupancy down 2.8. As you can see, they all generally correlate together, ADR to occupancy to room tax. When you look at how we're performing versus budget, tourism sales up significantly. Group sales there again, only slightly down 3.9. Visitor count down 2.7. Overall room tax revenue up 3.3. As you know, we went into this budget with a reduction of 3.6% overall in room tax revenue. Overall ADR up 3.8% to budget, and occupancy down 3.8% to budget. Looking at year to date, July through September versus prior year actual. Again, leisure sales, tourism sales up 3.5%. Group sales basically flat, down 1.1. Visitor count slightly down at 1.6. Overall room tax revenue down 3.1, which is outperforming budget a little bit. And then overall ADR slightly down 1.7, occupancy down just 1%. When you look at budget, the last slide here, tourism sales again seems to be a pattern of being up. Group sales up 21.7 because of what was booked in July and August. Visitor count up 0.5% over budget. Overall room tax revenue again up. Overall ADR and occupancy basically flat. So to budget, performing very well, slightly down to prior year actual. We are on basically a flat line in terms of our ring tax revenue year to date versus budget, which is a great job by the finance and accounting team for the budget numbers that he submitted. Any questions before I hand it over to Mr. McGinnis? Anything else in terms, I'd love to hear from the gaming representatives, if there's any other data you'd like to see on those reports. We had a visitor account, which we didn't have, which I think is important.
I like the slide, I don't know, I like the format, you have that in it.
Okay, great.
Be seen.
Okay, great.
Yeah,
Perfect. All right, thank you, Mr. McGinnis.
All right, John McGinnis for the record. Really excited to talk about our space on the meetings, convention, sports and tourism side, just real brief before Art jumps into his. A lot of activity, and that's going to help Chad pay for those capital projects, right, Chad? So in just the first quarter, we have already performed 15 and executed 15 events. Some of the most notable are the RTX Celebrity Golf that we did in July, our ASAE trade show in LA, Connect Marketplace in Tampa, and then last but not least, our IMEX event that just took place down in Las Vegas. Jennifer Abjanor also participated in the PCMA Capital Chapter event out in DC. And I want to go back to IMEX. We were shooting for about 130 guests for this event that we did, and we ended up having 172. Absolutely fantastic. Two of our sales team members were recognized with awards in the Smart Women's Meetings Award. Shelley Fine was recognized with a Visionary Award from Smart Meetings at the Smart Women Summit. And then our regional sales director in the DC market, Jennifer Abdanor, was recently recognized by the Association of Meeting Professionals at their annual AMPE Awards for her dedication as board chair. And this is her second time as board chair. Similar to yours.
Nice. Love it.
All right, next slide. A big thank you to our Director of Equestrian and Sports Sales, Rhonda Leach, who is present with us, for her work on bringing the International Bowling Federation to the region at the NBS, which I think we should have dubbed this week the International Bowling Stadium. This group wrapped up last night with their medal ceremony at the NBS and a closing banquet of over 500 people in attendance. The IBF Senior World Championships drew 37 teams from 37 countries, consisting of 400 bowlers, generating a little over 1,700 room nights for our region. A couple of our notable groups that we want to talk about were booked in the first quarter were NASRO, National Association of School Resource Officers. This was contracted by Mr. Sean Tracy in the Southeast for not only 2026, but also 2032. And each one of those bookings will bring about a little over 9,000 room nights. The 2032 booking does not contain an overflow block that is in the 2026 booking. That is still in negotiations, but once it is complete, it will probably surpass the 2026 numbers. The International Code Council was booked by Misty Sparks for September 2027 at about almost 4,200 room nights. The biggest one that I want to talk about is the VFW annual convention. We cited them back in June or July for their 2029 convention. We absolutely blew the doors off this site, and they awarded us the 2029 convention, which we're very excited. But not only did we do that, but Emily Flynn, who is out of the Midwest and oversees this account, VFW was so impressed that they gave us the 2026 convention, relocating from Salt Lake City due to some construction challenges. This is unprecedented because this group has not come back to the same area. We haven't seen them since I believe it's 2017. And we're very excited to have them basically within a 3-year period. So very, very awesome. And congrats to Emily. Definite room nights for the first quarter, as Mike alluded. We were 21% over our goal, hitting 96,000 room nights. Proud to say that each and every selling director exceeded their goals for the first quarter. That's all 10 slam dunk, over 100% of their goal. Lead room nights for 2025-26. The leads themselves are down just a little bit year over year, but the actual net on room nights that we are potentially buying for was up just a little over 4% at 242,000 room nights. And with that, I'll give it to Mr. Art Jimenez.
Thank you, John. Thank you. Still morning, yes, still morning.
Still morning.
And for the record, Art Jimenez. So the next few slides will be a little update on July through September tourism sales initiatives. And this slide here is September room night production. In September, room night production of 70,263, about 1,000 room nights up from 2023, but up 4,800 room nights from last September. And we're seeing nice increases in the receptive operator. We continue to see nice increases in the travel agent sector, which we know that is tied to our individual corporate travel coming into the market. So nice increase September to September. July to September for the quarter year to date, 210,000 room nights were up 7,000, 15,000 in 2023 and 7,000 room nights from last year. And again, the continued growth is in the receptive operator, and especially in that travel agent number, 69,524. That's a testament to all of the corporate travel that we have in the market. And not coincidentally, but 90% of those stays are midweek. And they're arriving, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, so which is nice because it's helping midweek. And then here, this is shows what our production is to goal. Our goal for the quarter was 196,000 room nights, and we came in at 31% of the total goal already. And the total goal is 675,000 room nights for the entire fiscal year. So we're tracking ahead of that as well. And then as far as activities for the destination, to piggyback on the celebrity golf event that we had with our tent out of the golf course at Edgewood. We brought in some operators from throughout the country. And then over on the right, we continue our partnership with Volaris Airlines in support of the Guadalajara flight. We brought in some folks from Mexico that were media influencers and some tour operators. And then we also had some folks in for an RTX fam, which capped off at the rib cook-off. And then Jennifer on the team has concluded a Travel Nevada Mexico sales mission. And you're probably wondering why we're doing 2 Mexico events. I just got some information. So the airport has reported that from an O&D standpoint, over the last 2 years, our Mexico business is up. It's up about 9%, with about 215 passengers per day coming in versus 210 passengers 3 years ago. And Brand USA released their numbers this morning. Mexico business to the United States through July is up 12%.
Wow.
So
Wow, with the tariffs, huh?
Yep. So we continue to support Volaris. We have representation in Mexico, as you know, and the numbers are
Wow.
surprising, right?
Yeah, you would never think in the climate.
The numbers
ever.
have been steadily growing up, but when I saw that July report from Brand USA, it was unbelievable.
Any reason why? Did they say there was any reason?
I think that the Mexicans are getting a little bit of a deal right now with the peso to the dollar, right? It makes just a little difference. And the Mexicans that are traveling and have money, they don't really care about the political climate. They're gonna get out anyway. And we're starting to see a lot more ski business coming in from Mexico as well.
Cool. Okay.
Yeah. And that concludes.
Well, that makes me happy because then we keep Volaris.
What's that?
That makes me happy because then we keep Volaris.
Yeah.
Well, Volaris, so I'm talking with Hassan and Garrett at the airport, they didn't see any decrease this year at all on Volaris flights.
Wow.
No decrease. Strong flight.
Is that, where is that? What city is that flying to?
It's a nonstop from Guadalajara, it connects to Mexico. And also we met at IPW with the Volaris Vice President of Sales. And they've seen a shift of that friends and family. About 3-4 years ago, it was 90% friends and family, 10% leisure. Now it's 70% friends and family and 30% leisure, which is, we know, the more leisure we get, the more they're
for staying in a hotel.
Wow.
So we made a nice dent into that, keeping that flight coming. And they're in their 11th year right now. They'll hit 12 years in December.
Yeah, wow, has it been that long?
Yep, already. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember when they came. That was a big deal. Matter of fact, some of you guys jumped on flights and went to, and she's over here going, I know.
I should have.
No, go ahead. We love it.
When, with the bookings, it had travel agent and then it had online travel agent. I don't know, I'm a really old millennial, but what's the difference between?
Online travel agent are Expedia, Priceline,
Okay,
okay, and the travel agent are just predominantly a global distribution system, so GDS, which is predominantly corporate travel, individual corporate travel.
Yeah, good to know.
oh, that's more the corporate travel, okay.
Good to know.
Thank you.
Well,
Great job, Art. And John and Mike. Okay, and Chad, good job.
thanks.
Okay, what else? And that's it?
That's it for the update. Yes.
Okay.
Any question? Happy to answer any questions, or we can move.
I'm gonna check in with my vice chair over here. Did I miss anything? No. Okay, we're now on E1. Approve a 7th amendment to the agreement dated January 13th, 2012 by and between the Reno Parks Convention and visitors of the city of Reno and the United States Bowling Congress. Authorize the RSCVA president and CEO to execute the 7th amendment. All right, who's gonna take this one?
That would be me.
Okay, go right
Thank you,
ahead.
Madam Mayor. So, very excited to present an opportunity to the board today that will result in Reno Tahoe extending our agreement with USBC via the 7th Amendment, based on concessions that I will be going through here in a minute. But this opportunity would add 3 championships to be extended to the existing contracts that are already in place. It would represent 2 open championships and 1 women's championship. So I think it's good to just kind of give the board a perspective and a reminder of the impact that bowling has on our community. These are the actual results that we performed as a city in terms of the 2024 USBC Women's Championship. This took place between April 27th and June 29th of 24. Almost 15,000 bowlers, 34,000 room nights, 3,700 teams, and an economic impact of over 26 million. When you look at the Open Championship, this is what we are forecasting for this next year's tournament, starting in March through July. We haven't seen numbers like this since 2010, 2011. Yes, and
Look at those.
through a combined effort of what we have done at the National Bowling Stadium and working with our food service provider, what our partners have done with headquarter hotels at the Row and their efforts. We have really gotten in front of the USBC Open Championship for 26, 55,000 bowlers, approximately 138,000 room nights. We feel that we're going to actually hit 11,500 teams for next year's tournament, and an economic impact of over 87 million. So I think it is just important to share and remind this group that, you know, bowling is so impactful and so important. It is the largest convention that we do when they are in Reno. And as part of our opportunity to extend this agreement, I wanted to share those numbers with you before I go into the concessions.
Yeah, awesome.
Okay. This is a summary, and this process has been in the works for over a year. We worked very hard to work with USBC and their executive staff and the major stakeholders that are impacted by bowling about putting a deal on the table that we thought was fair and equitable for both parties. The results of those negotiations is that, again, what we will receive in terms of Reno Tahoe is 2 open championships in the years of 35 and 38, 1 women's championship in 2036, at least 1 USBC convention between 2028 and 38, which represents approximately 2,000 room nights. And in addition to 10 short duration events, such as Team USA Trials, USBC Masters, USBC Queens, and USBC Senior Classic, amongst others. And those estimated room nights on an average are about 1,500 per event. So you're looking at over 17,000 additional room nights during off years, when USBC Open and Women's Championship would not be in Reno. The other part of the extension, which I think is very important, is that there's a lot of competition out there. And one of the things that was pivotal in the negotiations was that to ensure that we were having tournaments no more than 2 years in Delta, right? That we did not have more time elapsed more than 2 years in having a tournament. And we were able to accomplish that with the existing tournaments that are contracted and the additions of the 3 through 2038. In exchange for Reno being awarded these 3 events, we agreed to remove the liquidated damage language in our agreement starting in 2029. What that represents is there was language in the agreement that stated that if USBC relocated an existing contracted tournament and held it within that year in another venue, in another location, in another city, if it was a women's championship, the liquidated damages represented $1 million in damage, and an open championship would be $2 million. We were told that we were the only city that had such language in their agreements with their partners and other cities where they host championships. And through discussions with members of this board and members in the community, we agreed to remove that language from the agreement starting in 2029. Also, another concession was to increase the site fee from $30 to $36 per unique bowler starting in 2029. That represents an expense on a women's championship of between $75,000 and $90,000, and on the open championship between $225,000 to $275,000. So where is this money coming from? We at the RSCVA, per the agreement, collect a unique bowler fee back from the properties every time there is a women's or open championship. And that $10 comes back to the RSCVA and goes to the general fund. We would be forfeiting those revenues back to USBC through this additional site fee starting in 2029. So we would budget for it accordingly with that lost revenue in 2029 as part of the extension. The third item is that we agreed that we will pay USBC a 15% commission on all concession sales at the National Bowling Stadium during a open or women's championship. The estimated cost associated based on history and concession sales from previous tournaments would be about $40,000 to $45,000 for a women's championship and $135,000 for an open championship. In terms of, again, I think it's a good reminder, and I'm happy to answer any questions as it relates to these concessions, this is what our schedule would look like with the approval of 35, 36, and the 8 through this amendment and extension. We would have guaranteed business on the books from 26 through 2038. Happy to take any questions.
Okay, awesome. I should really express a lot of gratitude to you, to several of the Coronos, to Rick Murdoch sitting over there.
I forgot.
He hates that.
Former board.
Because this has been a lot of negotiation, a lot of back and forth. And, you know, we're really fortunate we have a good relationship with them and we're grateful for the business. It's impressive. That is impressive. And it's so critical, right? Economically and also for those room nights. So I just want to say, you know, thank you to you guys because there was a lot of discussion and I think it's, you know, it's a good partnership.
It is.
And I appreciate you guys really, really diving in and just getting it done and, you know, kind of moving everything along, but it makes such a big difference.
It really is.
You know, to the overall community. That's so massive. All right, go ahead, Glenn. It's all you.
Thank you very much, those kind of comments and, you know, the bowlers when they, especially when the open comes, it affects everybody in town. I know Steve, season for Peppermill and GSR and they travel up to the lake and everything. But I'm really happy to have a dedicated staff member from the RSCVA, the National Bowling Stadium, and Chad, and he comes from bowling background, and I think with him on board and a little pressure on for him to reinvigorate bowling.
I think he is, I swear. He's with him and he's all excited. I've never seen any excitement like this. At the RCVA on this level.
We got theater room up there,
Yeah, he's a-
bar up there, you know, so, you know, that stadium, does great, you know, great business now, but it can do a lot more. You know, it was from the old days, it was held back, and now I think just by having him there and the personality and the enthusiasm he has for bowling and everything else he does. I'm looking for great big things out of him.
No pressure.
I think you just got recruited.
Yeah.
No pressure.
And then, yeah, I do like to thank Rick Murdoch for everything he's done, because he goes through all the battles.
He does.
Of bowler, because believe me, we've been part of these negotiations and they're no fun. They're no fun there, but
Yeah.
good job, Mike and team, and
Yeah.
He's an unpaid consultant.
Well, and Rick has relationships with everyone. I mean, whether it's the airlines or, I mean, he's got BFFs everywhere and they go right to Rick. So if you want to know what's going on, call Rick. That's how that works. So, and thank goodness for him, because he's one of those people that knows how to build relationships and camaraderie amongst others. So, Rick, thank you so much. Yeah, you're not even paid. Poor guy. Okay, Stephen, anything? Nothing? No?
It's a occasional Reno Tahoe shirt.
Yeah.
No, I think it's great. One little question on the concession with, is Airmark, right, is the concession with, when is that contract out?
It was a 7-year agreement. I think we are in year 4.
29's last year.
29th, yeah, I
So on
think
sides
we
of
have.
this, if we
Yeah.
Okay.
End of year 3, correct, yes. And, just to add, I didn't mention this, but thanks for the reminder, Stephen. In this amendment, as part of that concession, USBC has the option, if they choose, to use that anticipated commission revenue to lower pricing, sell pricing, back to the bowlers. Lower the price of a beer and a hot dog.
Okay, awesome. Okay, with that being said, I think all we need is a motion, correct? So who's gonna give me a motion?
I'll make a motion. if you
Yes,
want.
please.
Hereby move to approve, I'll read it right here.
Go ahead.
Yes.
You sound so professional. I love it.
Originally dated June 13, 12, and authorized the RSCVA president, CEO, Mike Larry, to execute the proposal on behalf of the RSCVA. That's my
Okay.
motion.
Perfect. All right, I have a motion. Do I have a second? I have a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, motion carries unanimously.
And Madam
Okay.
Mayor, I failed to mention that I would also like to recognize Chad Murphy and Jason Overstreet from USBC for their
Yeah, that was really
operation
nice.
partnership. It's been-
Yeah, that was really nice, Mike, because they have been incredible. They've been with us for a long time, so they really are our extended family. They really are Reno residents.
They are.
Uh-huh.
They gotta wait and I was watching.
Are they watching? Oh.
100% they're watching.
No, but very, very grateful to them. I'm glad you mentioned them. I guess when they're not in the room, you forget, but they have been incredible partners for, I don't know, I remember meeting them back, I don't know, 10, 11, 12 years ago.
2012.
Robert remembers too. You've had many meetings, and so, so really grateful for you guys. If you are watching, thank you so much for your partnership. And please let us know how we can continue to foster such a great relationship. So, okay. Yes, go ahead.
So, thank you, Madam Chair. I'd just like to put on the record, just so everybody's clear. The city of Reno is also party to this agreement. So now that we've approved it, it will go to the city of Reno for their review and hopeful approval. Once that happens, it becomes.
Well,
final.
we look forward to approving. All right. All right. No, we're excited also at the city of Reno. I'm not just speaking for the RSCVA, but also at the city of Reno. We're very grateful and we realize the economic impact and what it does for our local businesses. I think people really forget local businesses depend on this. They depend on Burning Man. They depend on the bowlers. You have no idea what a massive impact that there's a lot of businesses that come to me and they rely on, I don't know what we call it exactly, but the volleyball tournament that comes here.
NCVA.
All of these things, I have so many businesses that say, Mayor, this is like our bread and butter, like we have to rely on this. So we have to continue to keep thinking about ways that we're gonna help our local businesses, because it makes a huge economic impact to them as well. Not just the airport and heads and beds, that there are a lot of little, small businesses that keep their doors open because we generate revenue to this capacity. So. Okay, great. We just took a motion. Okay, good. All right, we're gonna head into E2. I guess I will let you give us just a brief introduction on this, Mike, and then I'm gonna hand it over to you, Greg, to make a motion.
Sounds good.
Okay.
Perfect. Thank you, Madam Mayor. So this is a request that came through the unsolicited policy via a proposal to allocate $20,000 to the Stewardship Council. It is something we have done on an annual basis. The senior staff unanimously approved to move forward to the Finance Committee. I don't want to take Mr. Espaga's word, but as the chair of the Finance Committee, they unanimously agreed to bring it forward to the board as well.
Great. All right, thank you so much. Any questions?
I'd like to just
Can I
point out
send it
that,
to you?
yeah, that Ben was the representative for the RCVA on that council.
Yes.
So we'd like to get another nominee for that.
Ms. Ernie will step in on the interim basis, and then we definitely will put someone on full time as well.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, great. So I'd like to make a motion to approve the $20,000 in funding for the Lake Tahoe Stewardship Council.
Okay, perfect. I have a motion and I have a second. Did I hear a second over here? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, motion carries unanimously. All right, good. Okay, here we go. We just are getting started. Item F, board member announcements, reports and updates. Anyone have any board member announcements or updates? No? Yes? Courtney was gonna say something.
I can give you the airport update.
Yes, I would love that.
Okay.
Go for it.
And I will keep it brief, but I think it's important to start by saying that there are roughly 200 federal employees at RNO. Who are currently in the midst of a government shutdown. Next week will be the first week that they will not receive their paycheck. So while they are continuing to show up, there have been no upticks in call outs. At the airport, we are providing breakfast and lunch for those employees, and we've also partnered with the Food Bank of Northern Nevada and the Children's Cabinet to be able to provide donations that they can receive in terms of support and things like that. So I think that's just an important piece as you're flying through there. They're showing up so that we can fly safe, and any chance you get to maybe thank them for being there would be important. But we're keeping an eye on that and making sure that hopefully they feel well cared for. As the new Gen A and B, which are the new concourses, those bids went out. That will close in mid-November, and they're slated for construction in February for Concourse A. So the enabling projects, of course, are underway, and gate B2 is currently closed, but you can see the utility work that's happening outside of that gate. So very exciting things happening over there. Plenty of things are happening out of sight, but the work is underway. And that's.
And you had a big ribbon cutting yesterday.
We did. We broke ground on the Grand Transportation Center. And so that is an exciting project to be able to move forward on. Yeah.
And you were there. Thank you so much. I was hoping to be there. I had migraines, so I can't do it. Yeah. And I had to be at council. I have a double migraine. No, just kidding. Okay, that's fantastic. One thing, I'm so glad you brought up the airport, but I also wanted to bring this up because I meant to in the KPS3 presentation. KPS3, am I right, is also the agency for the airport?
Yes.
Okay. I would like to see some synergy between KPS3, the RSCVA and the airport to find out what they're doing as well. I think we need a little bit more cohesiveness with them because we have some exciting opportunities coming up. I don't want to miss them. We have the Winter Olympics coming, and that is February. We did not do anything for the Summer Olympics. I really would love to see, even if we just had some beautiful pictures of our athletes that are going. Because we're gonna have some from Tahoe. We need to welcome them, and I mean, we should be doing something like if you want to go to Reno and you want to go to Italy to, see your athletes, something in that capacity. But I also want to understand what they're also doing so we can be better partners with you guys to do, I think, some dynamic presentations or activations or something like that,
Absolutely. Thank you for mentioning that. I will make sure that I stay on top of that. And you reminded me that I meant to bring up the bowlers. Tony Marini reached out to me a while ago to talk about what we can do to make our bowlers feel very special when they arrive at the airport. And so that is something that I've been working on and engaged the senior staff the executive staff at the airport to make sure that we can be very mindful. It's a long period of time that they're coming in here, but we have some great ideas. I know the RSCVA has been working, Mr. Larangetta also went to Dallas, I think, with airport staff. So we're working to make sure that we're getting a good experience for them when they come here. So we'll be mindful of that, and I will put this on my list and staying on top of it.
Thank you so much. We appreciate that. Yeah, so if you like identify bowlers, I think are super important. You had one, there was an activation you guys did with music and everyone was walking through there was like, this is the coolest airport. It makes a difference. I always say it is the front door to our city.
Yeah.
And it's how people perceive us right when we walk in.
Yeah, as part of our continued collaboration effort, Christina, I unfortunately wasn't able to attend the meeting, but we had a meeting with the airport staff, with the row of how do we utilize our combined assets to have a consistent message of welcome to bowlers. So we're on it.
Yeah, it makes a difference. I won't say which airport, but I was in a similar size airport last weekend, I think it was, and we're just killing it. I was like, wow, it does make you really think how the presentation, and it's not just like if it's modern or anything like that, it's really the welcome, right? It's like
Music's been a big hit and it was very simple. It was a simple activation.
It's just opening your door to a guest, to a friend. So.
Since we're thinking about the bowlers too, but the rodeo to kind of dress up the airport during rodeo would be great. Culture month or something. I just,
I
we've
love
been
that.
talking about building on a culture for a lot of years, rodeo. And so it just brings people to town. California's got a lot of giddy ups over there.
They do, but I think you're right, because remember, people always talk about, oh, you guys are like the events capital. People notice from all over. They're like, you guys have so many events. And so I think that we should recognize, especially those events, whether it's hot air, because I think when people see that in an airport, I do it when I go to other airports. I'm like, ooh, that's cool. They have this here. I want to come back and do that. Or I had no idea they have that. And I think it is the same for our airport. When you see it, you'd be like, oh, I didn't know they had such a rich rodeo. I mean, put that number up, that's an impressive prize that, the amount of money that they give out.
Yeah.
People don't know it. So, okay, well, we are putting all of that on you. All of that goes on you, Courtney.
I will deliver.
You are the, director of awesome activation. How's that? Okay, any other board members announcements? Nothing? Okay, and, any public comment, Madam?
No public comment at this time.
Okay, then we are gonna go into probably Greg Long's favorite motion.
I make a motion to close this meeting.
Done in a second. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed, motion carries unanimously. Thanks, everyone. Oh, we do have our attorney client. Molly tells me it's 5 minutes. So if it runs past